students, welcome to the e-learning online classes presented by Sajana Global School. I am Mr. Faruk Sheikh. Today I am going to teach you Social Science Chapter 1st, Rise of British Rule in India. So students, in the previous Google Middle class, we have studied about the expansion of British rule in India, how the different governor general rule over the India, and they implemented the many different policies, and according to this policy they extend the empire of British rule like Warren Hastings, Cornwallis, Sir John Shore, Wellesley. Okay, so Warren Hastings again became the governor general, and when he became the governor general he fought the war against the Nepal and he defeated the Nepal, and the Gurkhas too, he successful to Gurkhas to join the army. Then after, Hastings fought a battle with the Pindaras and took control over them. And with the third Maratha war, the supremacy of the company was established. Means the Maratha only were very powerful ruler before the Mysore, that Tipu Sultan also was defeated. Only Maratha were left. Okay, so that is why while the Maratha was defeated, that company's rule became the supreme in the India. Now, in comparison to the earlier Governor General William Bentinck is known as a liberal governor. Now, liberal governor means he was very kind for Indian people. Okay, and he made the many reforms for the Indian people. Okay, he was thinking about the people. So that is why he was known as a liberal governor, and also he advocated to widow remarriage. He stopped sati pratha system, child marriage. So that is why he was known as a liberal governor. Now Bentinck believed that this satisfaction in the different state due to the imperialist policy adopted by the previous governor general could not bring about any unity. So he was very liberal in his state. So he was believed that the others governor general, they were just only thinking about extent of the empire, extend the British Empire. That is why they did not make any unity among the Indian people. So, and after the William Bentinck, Dalhousie came to India as the Governor General in 1848, and he was fierce imperialist. And Dalhousie adopted the policy of annexation of the expansion of the company and British imperialism in India. Now the annex means which state, which princely state, okay, they are could not able to manage the empire. Okay, if they have not the king die without hire. Okay, if any kingdom or the any princely state cannot able to pay the taxes or the debt, so they annex that kingdom, this princely state, and they join to the British Empire. It is called the annexation policy, and this policy was introduced by a Dalhousie. Now Dalhousie's annexation policy, so many of the kinds of there are the how they were annexing the states. So here you can see the annexion by war. Okay, annexion due to the king dying without hire. Okay, if any kings die without hire means if he has not any son. Okay, so their kingdom also annexed by a Dalhousies according to annexation policy. So annexations on pretext of mismanagement. If any kingdom could not manage the empire, the kingdom, they are not able to manage it. Okay, that is according to this pretext also they can annex that kingdom. Fourth is the annexation on pretext of debt collection. Now you all know that about the Wellesley introduced the subsidiary alliance system, and according to the subsidiary alliance system, that kingdoms or that province have to pay income, equivalent income to the British government, because they have a, in their kingdom there is a British army for their security reason. So that is why if any kingdom is not able to pay debt collection or any income, so they have to annexed by a Dalhousie's annexation policy. Now annexation to end a namesake rule. Now during that British rule, that time many of the kings, they were ruling over many other province, but they do not have any power, they did not have any power, they were just only for the namesake. They did not have any army, they did not have any income, they did not have even right to collection of the revenue. So they were just only for the namesake. Okay, now according to this Dalhousie's policy, which kingdoms were annexed by a Dalhousie? So let us we see that here it is written that all, here you can see that all the names are written. Okay, so here first annexation by war. So the which province were annexed by war? So it is the Punjab and the Pegu. Okay, Punjab and the Pegu were annexed by a war. Now it was known as a Pegu was known as a Lower Burma. Then second, annexation due to the king died without heir. Okay, if any king die without son, so their kingdom also annexed by a British Empire according to Dalhousie's annexation policy. So here the province that Satara, Jaipur, Sambalpur, Udaipur, means Udaipur it is in the MP, Jhansi, Bhagat and Nagpur were annexed because they did not have their son. Then third, annexation on pretext of mismanagement. So there is a just only one kingdom were annexed according to this pretext. There was a mismanagement. Awadh was annexed because of mismanagement. Then annexation on pretext of debt collection. So the Nizam's Varat province. Now Nizam was the first who accepted the subsidy line system. He accepted subsidy line system, but he could not able to pay debt or the income for the management and for the security reason and for the army's maintenance. So that is why Nizam's Varat province also annexed according to Dalhousie's policy of annexation. Then annexation to and a namesake. Now the many of the kingdoms just were for the namesake. That is why for a namesake which kingdoms were, so the Karnataka and the Tanjore were annexed according to Dalhousie's policy of annexation. Okay, so these are all. Now beside being imperialist, Dalhousie was also reformist. Okay, now Dalhousie's annexation policy was introduced and he extended his empire, but he was also known as a reformist. Means he made many reforms. Okay, he made the many reforms for the development of India. Now, which reforms made by him? It was just only for their self-interest. Okay, for their comfort they he made these reforms. Let us see which reforms were made by a Dalhousie. So the first railway line in India between Mumbai Thane in 1853 AD. Okay, the first railway line was established by Dalhousie in India between Mumbai and Thane in 1853. Then wireless system between India and England. Now this is the railway line. So for what? So it is just for that they can transport the easily that goods from one place to another place. And also British government can transport their weapons and their it is a army soldiers, they can transfer from one place to another place easily. That is why he established the railway line. Also wireless system between India and England, so they can send the message from India to the England very easily because that tapal and that system was very delaying the time. Okay, it was consuming so much time. That is why he introduced this wireless system. Then he establishment of public work department. Also he advocated the English education. Okay, PWD. Okay, public work department. And for the public they have to do that construction work, give permission for the establishing that industries and all. And also he introduced the English education. Then were all introduced during his tenure. Okay, these were all introduced during the tenure of the Dalhousie. Then after he also social reformist also, so he passed law to ban child marriage. Now the child marriage was very cruel tradition during the British rule. Okay, before the British rule also it was a spread all over the India also, and the many of the people were doing the child their marriage in the early ages. Okay, and he also advocated a widow remarriage. Means in the ancient time there was a widow marriage was banned. Okay, it was not allowed to, once a widow means a woman whose husband is died, they were not allowed to marry again. But the Dalhousie advocated to widow remarriage. Now within 100 years from the Bengal of Plassey in 1757. Okay, Battle of Plassey Okay, from the battle of Plassey 1750 in the 100 year. Okay, so within the 100 years of battle of Plassey in 1750, the British rule and the empire both extend, but in the process they had to face this dissatisfaction of the Indian state, and was manifested in the form of the first struggle for independence in 1857. Now the extended empire, but Indians were not satisfied with their empire because they were taking so much revenue collection, so much tax. They were also harassing the people. People have to pay lots of revenue from their income, also from the farming. If during the monsoon season, if there is a no rain and the crops are not done, then also they have to pay the land revenue. So that is why these types of their policies were not good for the Indian people. So Indian state, and this was manifested in the form of the first struggle of independence in 1857, and that is the reason. So they were started the struggle of for independence in 1857. So in the previous class you studied about the in the 1857 there was the first martyrs Mangal Pandey. Okay, now economic impact of the British company. Okay, economic impact of the British company. So what was the company's impact on the India? Okay, so when we evaluate the 100 years of company rule in India, okay, if we compare the 100 rule of company rule in India, we realize that India, which had an enviable position in the world in the previous century, that we can realize in the previous century India was known as a golden sparrow. India was very prosperous. India was richest country in the world. But while the Britishers were came and they rule over the India, India completely ruined. Okay, we can't compare that both this. Okay, so that is why, and India became merely a country that produced raw material for England, and just only India became a one country who has to produce raw material for England, and a prospective market for goods produced in factory, and India also became the market for the which goods were produced in the factories of the England. So they were selling this product in the India. So that is why India also became the market for the England. Now Bengal exported cotton cloth, rose, silk, sugar, jute, muslin 1708 to 1756. But after the dual power policy, the glitter of economic prosperity of Bengal faded. But after dual power policy, now dual power policy means in just one province there is a two ruler is there. Okay, it is called the dual power policy. Let us we also understand about this what is called dual power policy. So dual power policy means dvimukhi sasan. Okay, dvimukhi sasan means two rulers are there. Okay, so this was introduced for the first time. Okay, dual power policy or the dvimukhi sasan, it was introduced first time in the Bengal, whereby the power of collecting revenue was with the British while the responsibility of the people were with the Nawab. See, all the revenue collection, all the income sources in the hand of the British Empire. But who has to do welfare? Who has to develop of the company? Nawab. Nawab had no any collection. He hadn't any income. So how he could do the development of the their province, his kingdom? So this was now thus thus the British got power without any responsibility, and Nawab had responsibility without any power. So now here we can see that Britishers got the responsibility without Britishers got the power without any responsibility, and Nawab got responsibility without any power, because Nawab had no any income. Even he hadn't right to declare a war against any state or any kingdom. He did not have right to make a treaty with another kingdom. So he was just became for a namesake of Nawab. He did not have any right. That is why Britishers got the power without any responsibility, and Nawab got responsibility without any power. So this was known as the subsidiary land system, which ruined Bengal economy. And this was also known as the subsidiary land system, and it was because of this system that Bengal's economy completely ruined. The unfair revenue collection policy by company made the Indian peasant a debtor. Okay, in the 8th standard you have studied about that condition of the peasant in the India. So because of this policy, okay, while there is a no raining or heavy, because of the heavy raining, if the crops is destroyed, then also peasant have to pay revenue. So that is the why if they haven't got any income, and then also they have to pay, if they are not paying taxes or the revenue, they are sent to the jail. And that is why by selling their jewelry, they were selling their land and they were paying the taxes. Okay, so that is why peasant means a farmer became the debtor. The British government imposed unfair taxes Indian clothes industries. They adopted various dictatorial practice to ruin the prosperous Indian industries, because of which it completely collapsed. The Indian artisans become poor. Okay. Now Britishers wanted to just make Indian economy completely collapse. They wanted to destroy it, and that is why they adopted the various fraud practice. Okay, and according to these policies, they wanted to destroy Indian economy. Okay, they wanted to make Indian completely slave. They wanted to make Indian completely depend on the British Empire, and that is why that prosperous Indian industries, okay, completely ruined, and because of which it completely collapsed. And the Indian artist whose art was famous all over the world, they became poor. Okay, and they became the unemployed. The company traders forced the weavers of Bengal to sign contract for providing definite quantity of cloth in a short period. Now, company traders were forced to the weavers, means who were weaving the clothes. They were signed contract for providing definite quantity of a cloth in a short period. Now they were weaving with the hand; they did not have machine, so in a short time they can complete their work. And if the weaver refuse, he will be punished by being laced or a jail. And if that weaver is refused, he deny that I could not do this is the in this time, in this much short time, so they were punished or they were sent to the jail. So this was the policy of the British Empire. Okay, now before the arrival of the company, Indian villages were self-reliant. Self-reliant means everything was produced in the villages. Villagers did not have to go outside, okay, for their Rojmarra's life, okay, for Rojmarra's livelihood. They can made they can produce in the villages. Okay, everything was produced, everything was prepared in the villages. But under the company rule, they became dependent and poor. But when the company rule over the India, all the villages became dependent on the British rules and became poor. Now that during the East India Company, the first railway between Mumbai and Thane and the steamer service between England was started, between India and England was started, and developed of the ports in Mumbai, Madras, Chennai and Kolkata also took place. During this time, Britishers also made some development in India, but it was just only for their self purpose, their self interest. They also started that they also started that railway line between Mumbai and Thane and the steamer service between India and England, and also started to develop the ports also in Mumbai, Madras, and Madras now presently known as Chennai, and Kolkata also took place. Okay, so this was the economic impact of company on India. Now let us see about the social impact of company rule. Okay, so during British administration, the spirit of freedom of speech and thought developed among people due to the development of newspaper. Now during the British rule, during this time, many of the newspapers also were spread, and because of this, people also became the educated. Okay, because of the Dalhousie also introduced the education, so Indian people also became they were knew the English, and that is why they were there. There was a spirit of freedom of speech and thought developed among people. And in Indian society, certain wrong social custom, right and ritual were prevalent during this time, like sati system, female infanticide, child marriage, etc. Okay, so this all of you know the sati system. While the I mean woman's husband is that she also has to burn herself with his chita. It is called the sati system. Then female infanticide means infanticide means any baby is born. So while she born, as soon as she was sink in the bowl pour with the milk. Okay, so that is female infanticide. Now the child marriage, all of you know, in the ancient time, that you will be laughing when I will say this, students, when the child were in the cradle, जब वो घोड़िए में होते थे, okay, that time they got married. Even they don't know how to laugh, okay, even they don't know how to eat food, okay, during that time they were got married. Okay, so this is the all cruel system rituals, okay, were prevalent during this time. Okay, so like a sati system, female infanticides, and child marriage. Okay, child marriage, etc. So Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Durga Ram Mehta, Behram Ji Malbari, etc. were stalwarts who whose role was instrumental in getting the laws passed with the help of Britishers. And this system was demolished with the help of Rajaram Mohan Reddy, with the help of William Benting. And William Benting passed this law about the demolition of the system in India. So, as the administration framework in India was anglicized, there was a demand for people with knowledge for English. English education became to imparted in India due to the Lord Macquarie endeavors as recommended by Charles Wood. Now, the English education was begin in India, and because of the लॉर्ड मैक्वेल एंडेवर्स, लॉर्ड मैक्वेल के प्रयत्नों के कारण, उनके प्रयासों के कारण इंग्लिश एजुकेशन इंडिया में स्टार्ट हुआ था. And this was recommended by the Charles Wood, and the many of the universities also were established. So that university were established in Mumbai, Madras, and the Kolkata. So a whole class of people with knowledge of English developed because of English education. With the passage of time, this group made demand for social reform and gave momentum for process of reforms. And a whole class of people with knowledge of English developed education, and they became the educated. And because of English education, they were realized that British had made us just completely slave. They just wanted to rule over our country. They make a slave. Okay, they were realized. Okay, and that is why with the passage of time, this group made demand for social reform and gave momentum to the process of reform. Okay, so this is the conclusion of this chapter. So here we can study about that if we compare the 100 years of British Empire rule over the India and the British, before the British were rule over the India, India was prosperous, rich, okay, country in the world. It was known as the golden sparrow. But while the British were rule over the India and they ruled 100 years over the India completely ruined, economically also and socially also. That is why British rule on India, it was a very bad impact on us. Yes, they did some reforms also, but that reforms was just only for their self purpose. Okay, it was not just for the Indian, but after it was benefited for the Indian. Okay, let us see the now exercise. Answer the following question briefly. First question: European feel the need to discover new sea route to India. Explain the statement. So this is the question's answer you have already written in your notebook I gave you. So it is just you have to prepare it. What is the reason to discover new sea route to India? Write what reform did Dalhousie bring about. Which is reforms made by Dalhousie? So that is I explained about. I taught you about that railways, then wireless system. Okay, and also he made the reforms in that sati pratha system, then child marriage. Okay, etc. etc. That you have to write in this question answer. Number third, what were the important terms and conditions of the subsidiary line system? So there are six conditions were given, so you all have prepared the written also, you don't need to write this again. Number four, which states were annexed under Dalhousie policy of annexation? So in that diagram this all answer are given, that is the many of the states were annexed under the policy of Dalhousie's annexation, okay, according to different pretext. Okay, question 2, answer the following question in detail. So first is the brief information about the Battle of Plassey. So very good students, in the Google Meet classes, online classes, I ask you this both the questions about the two short note Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar. You have also written and you also have prepared. Okay, so no need to write this. Number 2, explain the economic impact of the company rule in India. So the economic impact, so the economic impact of the company rule British rule in India, it is very bad, it is worst. It just collapsed all prosperous industry which were in India. So that is, you have to write that how it was collapsed, what were the policies were introduced implemented by the British government. Question 3, explain the social impact of the company rule in India. Okay, so the social impact of the company rule in India, so because of the social is that so many reforms made by the Britishers, but also socially that in the previous that which villages were self-reliant, and because of the British rule 100 years they became the independent and poor. So both are effect on the social impact, is there is a good impact also and bad impact also. Okay, so this is lesson chapter is over here. Okay, bye bye, goodbye, take